Long before cities, borders, or written history, the land that would one day be called America was shaped by cold. For thousands of years, vast regions of North America endured long, unforgiving winters. Ice covered the northern lands. Snow blanketed forests and plains. Temperatures dropped far below, freezing for months at a time. Yet people lived here. This is the story of how ancient tribes survived winters without metal tools, modern clothing, or permanent homes, and how their knowledge of nature allowed them to endure one of the harshest environments humans have ever faced. Winter in ancient America was not a season. It was a way of life. Inner garments provided warmth. Outer layers blocked wind and moisture. Fur was often worn, with the hair facing inward to trap body heat, while smoother hides faced outward to shed snow. Footwear was carefully designed to protect against frozen ground, often lined with grass or fur for insulation. Every stitch reflected generations of knowledge passed down through observation and experience. And food, however, was the greatest challenge of all. Winter stripped the land of easy resources. Plants withered, rivers froze, animals migrated or became scarce. To survive, ancient tribes depended on preparation. During warmer months, food was dried, smoked, or frozen naturally. Meat from large animals could last weeks or even months when properly preserved. Fat was especially valuable, providing energy needed to survive extreme cold. Hunting strategies changed in winter. Rather than chasing fast-moving prey, people tracked animals through snow using knowledge of migration patterns and weakened conditions. Nothing was wasted. Bones were cracked for marrow. Hides became clothing. Tendons became cordage. Survival depended on respect for every resource taken from the land. Movement during winter was cautious and intentional. Some groups remained in protected camps, while others practiced seasonal migration, moving slowly to follow animals or reach safer environments. Travel was difficult. Snow and ice made long journeys dangerous. Paths were chosen carefully, often following rivers, ridges, or forest cover to reduce exposure to wind. Children, elders, and the injured were protected at all costs. Survival was collective, not individual. These shelters were small by design. A compact space was easier to heat and required fewer resources to maintain warmth. Inside, the center of life was fire. Fire was more than heat. It was light in the darkness of long winter nights. It was protection from predators. It was a tool for cooking, preserving food, and hardening wooden tools. Keeping fire alive during winter was essential. Embers were carefully maintained, shielded from wind, and sometimes transported between camps. Losing fire could mean death, especially during storms or extreme cold. Around the fire, people slept close together, sharing warmth. Community was not just cultural, it was survival. Clothing was another crucial adaptation. Without woven fabrics or synthetic insulation, early tribes relied on animal hides and furs. These were not worn carelessly. They were prepared through scraping, drying, and softening, often using animal brains or fats to make the hides flexible and water-resistant. Layers mattered. For early indigenous communities, preparation for cold began long before the first snow fell. Survival depended on foresight, cooperation, and an intimate understanding of the land. As autumn approached, families and small groups began to change their routines. Movement slowed. Camps were carefully chosen. Every decision mattered, because once winter arrived, mistakes could be fatal. One of the greatest challenges was shelter. Early tribes did not build houses meant to last for generations. Instead, they constructed shelters designed to protect against wind, snow, and cold, using materials gathered from their surroundings. In forested regions, shelters were framed with wooden poles and covered with bark, branches, and animal hides. In open plains or colder northern areas, hide-covered structures were reinforced with snow, which acted as insulation rather than exposure. Winter was also a time of knowledge. With long nights and limited movement, stories were shared, skills were taught, tools were repaired. Knowledge of weather, animals, and landscapes was passed to the next generation. This knowledge was not written. It lived in memory, repetition, and shared experience, understanding when storms would come, knowing where animals sought shelter, recognizing the signs of thinning ice. These lessons meant survival. Despite the hardships, ancient tribes did not merely endure winter, they adapted to it. Their lives were shaped by balance rather than domination. They did not attempt to conquer the cold. They learned to live within it. This relationship with nature, based on observation, respect, and restraint, allowed human life to persist in places that might otherwise seem uninhabitable. Over time, climates changed, ice retreated, new environments emerged, but the legacy of these early winter survivors remains. Their adaptations laid the foundation for cultures that would thrive across forests, plains, deserts, and mountains. Their knowledge shaped how people understood land, seasons, and survival. Long before modern technology, ancient tribes proved that resilience is not about strength alone, but about wisdom, cooperation, and respect for the natural world. Winter in ancient America was harsh, but humanity endured, not by overpowering nature, but by understanding it.